Hello and welcome to the Development Show, and I believe this is number 10, 9, 10, something like that. I lose track, even though I only did one 2 days ago. But yeah, no, we're starting to count them up fast this year, which is absolutely fantastic. And I really want to thank Susanne for joining us this evening. I believe you're in Germany, so we're similar time zones with me in the UK, which is always nice. Would you like to introduce yourself a bit, Susanne, to the viewers?
Yeah, so hi everyone. I am Susanne Naomi. I grew up in Germany. I'm serving people now for 1.5 years almost as a Proctor Gallagher consultant. Very passionate about helping people. Very passionate about marine conservation and diving as well. And happy to be here.
Awesome. We'll get into the diving and the marine conservation after, I think. I think Proctor Gallagher, as I said to you, I think is a name that a lot of people have heard, but not too sure what they do. Do you want to explain a little bit about what Proctor Gallagher do and what your role is there?
Yeah, so if we want to understand what makes him so important is we want to circle back, let's say in history, let's say about 100 plus years. Andrew Carnegie back then was very famous, very wealthy, very accomplished. And he hired a very young man named Napoleon Hill as a reporter. He wanted to have somebody who worked for him and would write down everything he did in life. And he also had an intention to give him a job to interview about 500 of the most successful people at the current time, to write down what exactly they did, interview them, write a book about it. And that is a famous story when Andrew asked Napoleon a question, are you willing to do this? He gave him virtually a few seconds. And that was a test, because we know successful people will always make a decision very quick. So Napoleon Hill then wrote the book Think and Grow Rich, which made him a name, for centuries in every place. It's like the Bible for people who want to be successful. And he figured out that there's a system on what people makes, or what makes people really successful. How do they think? How do they act? How do they work? Do they work like we do, or do they work in a certain way? Now, Napoleon Hill was mentoring a man who was like the great grandfather of, let's say, self-development, which is Earl Nightingale. And he had a very famous program, which is Lead the Field. And he himself mentored Bob. And Bob Proctor then, he really started out, but he figured out that there's greatness in everyone. Now, of course, religion is teaching this. Science knows we have a lot of potential, but he really opened this kind of knowledge to the public. Now, about 15 years ago, I saw him the first time in the movie The Secret. I thought he's odd because, there's a scene where he says you should kiss yourself, and he virtually raises his hand, kisses himself. Now, 15 years later, I'm working for him. And he and Sandy Gallagher, who is his business partner, they really dedicate their life to help everyone reach the goals. Because the trouble is with many people, we know in theory that we have potential. How do we use it is another thing. We walk around maybe with results that we don't want. But many people don't know where to find themselves. Some say, they go to religion. Some say go to science. But what about those people who don't want to go to science or to religion? And so the Proctor Gallagher Institute basically is dedicating everything to help people really develop the potential that they have. And I'm very fortunate to be part of this.
Yeah, it is amazing. It's certainly something I came across quite a while ago, and I looked into it, and reading How to Think and Grow Rich, and It does. It kind of resonates so much, and I know that it's quite an old book now. So chances are a lot of people would have read it, and there's still some very relevant points in there. And I love that about making decisions. And you're right that very successful people make quick decisions, and they make decisions with conviction, which is another big thing. And there was something I can't remember. You'll have to forgive me because I did read that book again. Oh, sorry, I listened to it on audiobooks not that long ago. So some of my knowledge is a bit fuzzy of where it came from. But there was something I heard quite recently about making decisions. And the best way to make a decision is to flip a coin. Which seems a bit odd, but they were saying that if you've got two choices and you put one at heads and one at tails, and you flip the coin, and you say in your mind head or tails before it lands, you've actually made up your mind the one that you really want. So the flipping of the coin is just the urgency, the stress, and the pressure, because you already know the answer inside of you of what you want to do. I think that's a really really interesting thing. It's something I haven't done yet, but I'm waiting for that next big decision to kind of to flip that coin and go heads or tails on before it lands. And I think that this is so important because we can waste so much time deliberating over decisions. Is this something that you help people through and with? Is kind of that decision making process and having that conviction of decisions? Is that something that you're helping people with?
Yeah, well, it starts by many people, there are very key questions that many people don't dare to ask themselves. What kind of goal do I have? What is my mission in life? What is my purpose in life? We always base a goal that we choose from our perception of what we think, what kind of person we are. What is my capability? Is my goal only to survive? To maybe live the same lifestyle like my parents did? There is, a fair amount of wishing to stay alive. Our parents taught us something, they kind of granted us knowledge that is going to keep us alive. But we humans are way too developed to only survive. I believe in thriving. I believe in growing. I believe in stretching. Now, decisions, we can only make decisions based upon our perceptions of who we are. A decision, let's say, of Richard Branson is going to be very different from my decision, from your decision. It's not, bad or, higher or lower, but I feel that we deep down might know very well what our path is, what our goals are. The question is more, are we in tune with that? Are we really able to, listen to this, this voice inside of us? There's a lot of paradigms, a lot of beliefs going around in every one of us. And that is kind of, blurring, the reality of who we really are.
Yeah, it's hard, to be honest. I think, and I'm talking from, my own experience as well. It's hard to, I don't want to say it's hard to see the signs of who we are. But I think that there's a lot of expectations, societal expectations as well, of who we should be. That it's hard to break free of that as well. I think that when you grow up, when you're younger, you have we carry so much with us of not wanting to disappoint our parents or not wanting to disappoint the adults in our lives, and we put under pressure, and we go through education, we have tests, we have exams, we have so much that we're having to perform, and we are judged and graded upon that in adulthood it is hard to shake that off sometimes. Say, actually, no, this is what I love, this is what I enjoy. Because we get asked the question, well, why is that useful? How are you going to earn money? How are you going to survive with that? It's really interesting you mentioned your passions of diving and marine conservation as well, because I guess that some people won't understand why that passion is there and what purpose it serves. And it's okay for people to have passions about things that aren't about surviving. They're just about joy. They're just about happiness. They're just about, I guess, with marine conservation, it's education as well. It's knowledge. It's fascination.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. What you talk about is, we are programmed to survive, or we're led to believe that we need to survive. And it doesn't matter how comfortable we are in life, that is still within us.
Yeah. The truth is, we're always going to be programmed. You and I, we have programs maybe from our great grandparents still inside of us. Cultures have, their beliefs, paradigms, we can also call them. We have a self-image. But this is the question that everyone, really would want to confront themselves with. Am I living my own life? Is my life really my party? If life would be, a movie, am I the main character, or am I just only the cameraman? This is the thing, if we have a sand watch, I think you call it sand watch in English, where you have sand running from top to bottom, we don't know how much time we have. Why would I want to live, other people's dreams? They are not made for me. Why would I want to live other people's lifestyle? It's not meant for me. And this is the thing, a concept, we always think in pictures, right? We see a fridge, or we see the word fridge, we know what a fridge is, but so many people don't have a concept of what a mind is. They might think, mind maybe is brain, but it's only movement. And we are not only a body, we are not only intellect, we have, body, mind, and soul. We are souls, basically. We are dressed in a body and we have an intellect, but the truth is, there's so many people walking around and they don't realize how just precious they are. And our dreams are meant to be unique. Our goals are meant to be unique.
Yeah.
And there's a beautiful saying that I heard once. Our lifestyle now is based upon the lies that we have been telling ourselves. It's lies, right? The parents tell the children, how do you earn money? And they might be broke, It's very important, because whoever has our ear is going to have our life in any situation. And when people walk around, follow other people's dreams, are not happy, and one day they are going to be retired, and they sit there and, just simply say, I wish I would have done, and it's horrible.
Yeah. There's a phrase that I heard many years ago saying, if I'm going to regret something, I'd rather regret the things that I did than regret the things that I didn't do. And I think that is, is quite a powerful thing. That we should. Yeah, you're right that we are unique, we are individual, and it's amazing when you think that your dreams are unique to you. And I hear people saying, oh, we share the same dreams. I find that quite hard to believe. I find that quite impossible. If you really truly know your dreams and your beliefs, you won't share them with anybody else. There might be commonalities, but they won't be shared dreams because how can I put it? Because it's so difficult to actually have that complete shared dream. There might be some what's the word I'm after? Some
Similarities.
but yeah, you might with two people, you might have a joint dream. Compromise. Sorry, that's the word I was after. Compromise. There might be compromise in there, but yeah, you know, you're right that we are so unique, and with our thoughts and our minds and our dreams and our goals, that it's only right that we should be allowed to pursue them. So how did you get to this point? I know on your LinkedIn bio there's you've put, I spent most of my life where I didn't listen to my intuition, which is
I never did.
interesting.
I never did. Oh dear. Oh dear. This is why I'm now a consultant. I'm going to shortcut everyone's life now from this. You know, this is the thing. I grew up in East Germany. And in East Germany, we were not allowed to, you know, let's say, be religious. They had a certain belief on how people have to operate, think, or whatever. And my father is also battling alcohol. So that is one thing. And I never envisioned myself being a coach either. Never. I was way too shy. I was scared that people would talk to me, look at me, whatever. I would cross the street if somebody would come to me because I was just, you know, scared of judgment and whatever. But in, I think 1.5 years ago, I started reading books of Robin Sharma, you know, who wrote the 5 a.m. Club. I was watching all these YouTube videos of motivation, and then one day I found myself Googling for Bob Proctor. I, till this day, don't know how come. But I think it was intuition telling me go there to study. And I signed up to have a call with a success advisor. But again, 3 times I postponed talking to her because I was scared. I felt something in my life is going to change. And we, for some reason, are wired as humans that, you know, in case something changes profoundly, we get scared because it would shake our own concept about ourselves. So I was talking to her, went straight into fear, but enrolled. And within a month, I decided I'm not going to actually only study this, but I want to serve people with this. And I look back for years and years. I mean, I'm now 44 years. Probably about 42 years, I didn't listen most of the time to my intuition. And this is something we all do. Because it's an act of bravery. Intuition will tell us very often that our next logical step is something that just doesn't make any sense to our logical mind. This is what Napoleon Hill says. He says you get hunches when you are in tune with, you know, with your thoughts, in you know, connection to infinite spirit or to the source. And it is so interesting to study this material because I feel that the more we study us, the more we understand, the more we can change about ourselves. It's not going to be anymore the outside world causes my life to be like this and that. It's going to be more that we are having a feeling of empowerment, that we know who we are and we can live from the inside out and not from the outside in.
Yeah, it's actually amazing. I actually have thought about changing the name of the show to Inside Out because it is something that comes up time and time and time and time and time again. That you know, we need to stop allowing our external environment control what's going on inside, and actually it's around the other way. It's funny you should say that because I think I was about 39, 40 when I reached the point where you reached at 42. And it was more, for me, it was more, there's more to life than I am living now. What is it? And I never planned on becoming a coach. Mine started off as career based. Right, what do I need to do to move my career on at 39, at 40 years old? And I think, from talking to people, the people who never planned on being coaches have started the self journey before anything else are the ones that I think make the best coaches, because come in with experience, but I can, even talking to you, I can still feel and I can still hear that sense of awe and wonderment and excitement of the journey that you're on. And it's the consultant or the consultant side or the coaching side is a byproduct of that journey. It's I know people that have set out to be coaches and go, I want to be a coach. And they've done everything they can and they fail time and time again because it becomes their sole focus. Where I think if you approach it from the other side and you're on your journey and you're on your own development, coaching becomes a byproduct of that journey. It somehow flips the script a little bit.
Yeah. It comes down to helping, Neil Donald Walsh, he said in the book, life is not about us. It's about helping other people, other beings. I don't even say only people. Life is not really about us, but there's a discussion, are we a leader or are we a follower? We are always going to be both at the same time. We lead our own life. But if we lead other people, we want to be really good leaders. This is why mindset is so important. Don't want to dive so much into politics, but this planet, in any aspect, it shows results of consciousness. How is the consciousness of people? It will always start with a thought, which turns into a feeling, which turns into a reaction, and that turns into a result. And coach, I don't know if I see myself as a coach. I see myself as somebody who wants to help people. This is important for me. And I feel also that we don't necessarily coach people, we grow with them. We become better people by helping other people. This is a beautiful product out of it.
Yeah, the word coach has strange connotations, and on a previous show we're talking about words, and I really like the word guide, that we actually help guide people.
Yeah.
But there's another things that we've heard, and there was one saying that you have to be selfish to help other people. And it took me a while to understand, and it was basically just saying what you said, that for us to be able to help other people, we need to learn ourselves, and we need to grow ourselves, which can seem a little bit selfish at times to some people. But unless we have that, and we have those experiences and the knowledge and the tools and techniques, that we can't help other people. And we certainly can't guide them or guide them well. It's really interesting when you talk about intuition. It's funny because I wrote a while back about a book that I had read, and it's called The Surrender Project. I don't know if you've come across this. This is crazy. I can't remember who it's by. It was an audio book. I downloaded it, and it wasn't a book that I meant to get. I was meant to download something else, but I downloaded this, and it was all about the Surrender Project. Was all about surrendering to life. Whatever life put in front of you, you surrendered to it. And the fact that I'd accidentally downloaded it and then listened to it, and I thought, how strange that I accidentally downloaded a book saying we should surrender to what life puts in front of us. Now, you know, the premise of the book wasn't about doing anything and everything, but it was against not fighting against life. So not pushing things away before we'd given them thought and consideration. And it sounds like your journey a little bit when you say, you know, you don't know why you suddenly started Googling Proctor Gallagher. It's just you surrendered to life. That something inside you went. There was obviously something you read somewhere, or the name you'd heard, or there was something that, and you allowed that to happen. Which is
beautiful things happen when we surrender to many things. Intuition is really God talking to us, you know, we're not, you know, go for it, even if it doesn't make sense. But, you know, that is something that I realized, I'm starting more and more to realize now. We walk around and we think, you know, we want to improve this about ourselves. How about this lifestyle? How about, you know, outsourcing kind of. And then you get at a certain point where you study mindset and you realize basically, and this is what Neville Goddard says, we are already what we seek for. It's just our perception is so invaded with false conceptions about ourselves, but we don't see it. And manifesting, for example, means not you don't, you know, kind of you think of something and it shows up in your life, but you think of something and you realize, oh my God, it was always in front of my nose. And, you know, it's all about perception. Change perception and your whole life is going to change for the good and for the bad. But I find this so important and so interesting also. There's so many people walking around maybe hating themselves, feeling that, you know, the results, you know, dictate who they are. But in truth, thinking of who we are, believing of who we are is going to dictate the results. It's very different.
Yeah, manifestation is something that is I'm not sure about. Because I am like you. I think the narrative that we tell ourselves, we will always look for evidence of that happening. So whether we can truly manifest something, I'm not so sure. What are your thoughts on manifestation?
We manifest all the time. All the time.
But can you? But is it a case of just looking for evidence of what we're asking for?
Well, let's say everybody has a certain lifestyle, right? That is evidence. How much money we earn is an evidence of, you know, where our self-image maybe is settled. In the book Psycho-Cybernetics, Dr. Maxwell Morse said, you know, you have in your subconscious mind a certain belief. But it's not only the belief that guides you. There's something like a psycho-cybernetic system, which is like a flight pilot, and it's always going to get the result that is matching our belief. It's a bit like, you know, imagine you're sitting in a car. On the driver's seat is your belief about who you are as a person. And you sit on the passenger seat. Now, your belief is driving the car, and you see an arrow turning to prosperity. And you say, listen, I want to go to prosperity. But your belief says, you know, you actually believe you're not going to make it, so I'm going to go straight. We manifest all the time. This is why it's so important to be, you know, really clear on a very good C-type goal. It needs to scare us. It needs to infuse us. But how do we manifest? we already live with a feeling in 4D world. We imagine being there, breathing there, feeling this, assuming it is already there. Joyful expectation is what I may call it. And you act as that person. And when you see, you gather a lot of evidence. People come to you. People show, different opportunities to you. It is easy, but the way we are conditioned in school makes it so difficult for some people. Because the first thing that children learn when they come to school is quit dreaming. Stop daydreaming. Be in the real world, right? When, of course, people tell them how to earn money, how to think, how to act, how to operate, kids' minds are open for everything. They can't refuse a lot. So everything goes straight into the subconscious mind. And then they walk around and they manifest, the same stuff from parents, from everybody who is, raising them, educating them. And we manifest all the time. The thoughts that we think today are going to dictate what happens tomorrow. Sounds very, new age stuff, hippie clothes kind of thing. She must be crazy, maybe she's drinking too much. But that is actually mentioned in all religions, and there's science also, backing this kind of information. And the beautiful thing is, the more we study, the more we can change in our life. And it is easy. We always were, kind of educated to work really hard, to study really hard. You have to make an effort. You have to wait until you're retired in order to take a vacation. Who exactly says that? People who always go through the same. But if you want to have different results, then you want to do different things. But in order to do that, you must believe. You must have faith and also choose different thoughts.
Yeah. That is quite powerful. That you're right that we are conditioned and we are programmed, and it made me laugh because I was always told to stop daydreaming. And I did until I was 39, 40, and well, no, maybe a bit before that, but it was a case of, wow, what could I actually achieve? And then obviously the conditioning comes in, and the societal expectations, and it was, well, maybe I could go a little bit further in my career than I am now, but I certainly can't get to where I thought I wanted to go because I was too old. I wasn't educated enough. I didn't have the opportunities. I was too introverted. I was, and all these things that I told myself that I believed or I'd heard, and the things that held me back. And actually I set out with a dream to reach by the time I was 50. And bearing in mind, I'd given myself 10 years, 9 years to kind of achieve this dream. And I would say that where I'm sat here today at 47, I have surpassed that dream. And does it feel good? No. In a way, no, because actually it was a dream, it was a goal, and I kind of realized that dream and that goal was based on breaking other people's perceptions. So my dream and my goal was based on proving people wrong, which is never a good focus, because it means that we're not necessarily working towards our goals, our dreams that aren't entirely ours. They're still being driven by other people, even if it's to prove them wrong. I mean, I think that, we've all heard it at some point, and someone says, well, just go and prove them wrong. And we go, yeah, okay, I'm going to go and do that. You know, and I heard it, and I remember many years ago when I ran my first half marathon that people were going, well, that's a long way. You're never going to do that. You know, in my head was, well, I'm going to prove to you that I can do it. And I did. And I ran that first half marathon.
Wow.
And I've done a number since, a number of half marathons, ultra marathons since then. And I've never had that thought in my head. And I've enjoyed all of them a lot more than I did that first one. Because that first one was about proving people wrong. Not because I wanted to do it and I wanted to enjoy it. It was to prove people wrong. And actually running has taught me a lot about goals. I'd set myself out to run an ultra marathon. I think it was 53.6 miles.
Wow.
And that was my goal. That was it. That's what I wanted to do. So I did it. And I remember getting to the end after many, many hours of running and walking and running and walking. And I remember getting to the end and sitting there and going, what now? What do I do now? I realized that I had set myself a goal. I had achieved that goal. And I'd never set myself anything after it. And I think that was quite a hard lesson because everyone was around celebrating. Wow, we've done this, we've done that. And I just sat there going, what now? That hasn't broken me. How far can I push for it to break me? And it's funny. When we talk about exercise, and I'd say running was something or certainly long distance running was something I was never good at when I played sports. And it was something I set out to do, saying, well, actually, can I do this? And it taught me a lot. I remember one half marathon I did, and I was carrying an injury, an IT band injury, which runs from your lower back all the way down your legs. So I was getting pain in my thighs and my knees. It was out in the middle of nowhere. It was raining. It was windy. I was ready to pack in. And the only thing that stopped me was if I stop running now, I've still got to get to the start. There's no way anyone can come and get me. So I carried on with tremendous pain. And I actually realized that my body had given up before my mind had. And the mind is so much stronger than the body is. And that taught me a very valuable lesson, that it doesn't matter how much we go through in life. If our mindset is right and our mind is healthy, we can get through it. And I know we've gone slightly off topic, but it's about getting those results. It's about pushing through. And as you mentioned, kind of mindset, and when the mindset is right, you know, I'm using the physical body, but we can also endure lots of other things. We can endure the dark days. We can endure the bad days. If the mindset is right. It's a very powerful tool, and it's unbelievable. And it taught me, and you know, talking about passions, and I haven't run so much because of COVID and everything else. And I'm not using that as an excuse. I do book races that kind of remind me I need to train and I need to push a little bit further. I'm not sure I'm one of those people that necessarily wants to put my body through physical torture for no reward at the end of it. But it's really, really interesting that you know, we're talking about the kind of the mindset and how to push on results, and it is very mental.
The interesting thing is, when you say you ran the marathon, and when you're done and what is next, it just shows how little we know, what we are capable of doing, right?
Mhm.
But we grow always when we set a goal. We grow into another person, and we stretch. Somebody had this beautiful analogy. Suppose you want to travel to a beautiful place, and you envision like, oh my God, I'm going to this place, and you see it already in your mind from afar. And one day you travel to that place and you feel like, whoa, that's the one that I really envisioned. And that is the same with goals, finding this once in a lifetime goal that really burns under our nails is amazing. Last year, I think in the middle of the year, Bob Proctor was reaching his goal that he has set 60 years ago. On the live launch, he realized that there are no operating in all countries that he really wanted to operate in. And he had this goal card of his for 60 years with him. Imagine, this is something what everybody who's watching or listening, just imagine how powerful you feel when you are day by day going for a goal that you want to have. Becoming this person, changing day by day more and more, and stretching and, transforming yourself. This is such a beautiful way. When you see people walking on the street or on a sidewalk, by the way they walk, you see if they have goals. They don't, have this, kind of walk where you feel they are not going anywhere. You see they are going somewhere, and they are just so alive. And I feel that the day that we really go big, when we decide to go for a really big goal, is the day when we are actually born. The physical birth is one thing, but the day we are reborn and we say yes to what really is for us is rebirth, I think, because we figure out why we are here.
Mhm. Yeah, that's quite quite a powerful thing, of rebirth. I suppose it doesn't really matter how many times we are reborn or reinvent ourselves.
Mhm.
So what are your goals then? Talking about Bob Proctor, and it taken him 60 years to realize them. What is Susanne Naomi's goals?
Actually, I was 1.5 years ago, I was snorkeling with humpback whales. I always loved the ocean. I see it as spiritual home for me. Now, I was thinking about, when I was standing on the boat and surrounded by humpback whales, a few things. Number one, you can't help but wonder because they are just so precious. I mean, for me at least. Today, I don't, of course, support any dive or snorkel or whatever with dolphins or cetaceans, because there's a big difference between me swimming in the ocean and they happen to swim around and join me, versus me going there and choosing to be close to them. It causes them a lot of stress. But then I thought, this is such a beautiful ocean and such a beautiful planet. And I was thinking about, maybe go into marine conservation and study marine biology to make a difference. But then I thought, no, we have a beautiful planet. And in order to enhance it even more, in order to serve more, we want to address our thinking. And that actually caused me to step into coaching, because I felt that if I want to make a good impact, it will start with my thinking. And if I change my thinking, my family is going to change their thinking. And you start, like something like a mass movement.
Mm-hmm.
And that is actually the vision that I have, helping hundreds of thousands of people, building a life that is really worthy of them. We don't choose goals that we are worthy of. We choose goals that are worthy of us. There's a very big difference. And of course, helping the oceans. I don't see oceans as endangered, because that would mean I guide my energy towards, everything is going downhill. I don't support that thinking, because what we assume is what we get. But my vision is helping a lot of people. And see, if everybody shows up day by day as his or her best, serving people, serving beings, imagine, how this planet would look like. And we can all do it. It's very easy. It sounds a bit like, Utopia, or maybe, those movies where everything is good. But we have it in our hands. That is the definition of free will. Nobody can force us to think something that we don't want to think. Yet again, we walk around and we imagine our funeral. Right? We imagine poverty while we maybe want riches. And Napoleon Hill said, and it's written in the book Think and Grow Rich, we are born with two sealed envelopes. One is blessings, one is curses. Blessings is health, good fortune, abundance, joy, happiness. But the one with curses is going to be failure, lack, poverty, superstition, ill health. By the virtue of the thoughts when we think, we open this or that envelope. And this is what Bob also said in one class. Our thoughts are stronger than laser. We might not see it, but it is very, very strong. Very, very strong. And I wish, it would be taught in school. I wish it would be taught in kindergarten. Why is it that so many people here on this planet walk around and they are so unhappy? And we have so much, potential. So much. This here, the phone, it was imagination. Somebody was dreaming about it. That shows how little we know about ourselves. And the marathon, the marathon as well is a good analogy. It's a lot of mind work, I believe, when you run. David, yeah.
You go to different places.
Yeah.
It's funny that again, it was something that I'd never really set out to do. So I was running before I did my first half marathon, and it's funny because it gives me thinking space. And so often, if I was having to solve a problem or needed to think about something, I would go out and run, and I would say to myself, you're not going to finish this run until you have come up with a solution that you're then going to go and work on. And it was kind of, so sometimes I'd be running for half an hour, sometimes for 2.5 hours.
Oh, wow.
It was just go and run and think about it, because I think that when we're physically exerting the body as well, we don't have so many thoughts going through our head, because we can't cope with all of it at once. So the thoughts that we have are very focused thoughts, or certainly anyway. And I would say, right, until you make a decision and you're going to go back and you're going to act upon that decision, you're not going to stop running. And then suddenly I was clocking up 10 miles, 12 miles, 15 miles. And people are going, well, what are you doing this for? And I try to explain, and they're like, yeah, but why are you running? Why? And I'm just, it's the tool that I use that I have found works for me. Then it was like, right, I'm going to go and do half marathon. And people go, no, you can't. That's ridiculous. And I'm doing more than that anyway. So and I combined it with raising some money for a charity as well, which was quite nice.
Yeah.
That again is a bizarre story that I won't go into online because it's quite personal. But I raised it for a local Birmingham Children's Hospital, which turns out to be quite strange. I might tell you off air, but it turned into a kind of a strange turn of events of why I did that. Who knows? Who knows why it happened? But yeah, I am a big believer in what you were talking about, and it's something I call the ripple effect. That it takes one person to start, and then it creates those ripples. Because I hear so many times people say, "Oh, well, this should be done and that should be done," and I say, "Well, why aren't you doing it?" And they say, "Well, one person's not going to make any difference." And I say, "But what if all those one people that say one person is going to make a difference, and you all start? There might be hundreds or thousands doing the same thing and creating those ripples."
Just think of Gandhi. He didn't have any resources and he was turning everything upside down. Changed the world. But you see, those people who say, why are you doing all these things? I think secretly they would have wanted to do the same stuff.
Yeah.
You can't take somebody out of a prison if they don't know they are in one.
Yeah, and it's passing on their own limiting beliefs. Well, you can't run that far because I can't. And that's the bit that they miss out. You can't do it. And the bit they miss out is because I don't believe I can do it.
Yeah, but you are evidence actually for them that it can be done. This is, we often maybe use the law of relativity against ourselves. We see other people who might be successful, and then we kind of say, I can't do it because la di da. He's successful because this and that. How about we turn it around and say, oh my God, he can do it, so it shows that I can do it, because if he can, he shows that it's possible.
Yeah, I am at that mindset. When people talk about who they admire or which famous people do they follow, and I say I admire people, but I'm not in awe of them. So there are people like Elon Musk I'm very fascinated with at the moment. And obviously you've got likes of Tony Robbins and Grant Cardone and people like that. And am I in awe of them? No, I don't think I am. I'm fascinated by them, and I say, right, what have they done? What is so special about them? What have they done to get to where they are? I don't ever look at them and say I could never be that. I'm going to have to move quickly at my age, but I wouldn't never say that I cannot achieve that if that's what I wanted to do.
Well, if you admire them, then they mirror something that is already inside of you. You will always relate to something in somebody else that is part of you. Otherwise, you couldn't relate to it.
Yeah, I think Elon Musk at the moment is the one for me that I'm absolutely fascinated by. And not just what well, yeah, it is about what he is achieving, but how he's doing it and the foresight that he had.
Well, it's very simple. He's willing to die for his dream. This is what is so amazing. He said that, and that is very interesting. People panic because they don't find a charger for their phone. But they don't panic if they have a dream and don't find how to build it, how to get it done. It's the energy what inspires us in those people, because we feel, that person lives his purpose, his goal. If they will achieve it is a different thing, but they go for it day by day. And Neville Goddard said also, if you want to achieve your dream, You have to die to your present self. That means anything of who we think we are, what we are capable of, needs to be wiped out in order to build something new. And that is the very step that is, really demanded, or it's an obligation. Are we willing to give up our concept of who we are?
Yeah.
And and surrender to the fact that we are way more than this.
Yeah, it's an amazing concept to think that who we are, who we've been shaped to be, who we've been programmed to be is just programming. And once you understand that it is just programming, you can then ask yourself the question of, why can't I reprogram myself?
Well, we can, but many people are afraid.
Of course, because it's unfamiliar.
Yeah,
And
the fear is coming because this programming in our subconscious mind wants to maintain what is. If we introduce another program, then we run into fear, because it's something written in the Bible, I think also. You can't serve two gods. But what is meant by this is, do you serve fear or faith? Not believing. I'm not talking about believing. You can believe a lot of stuff. Does your heart believe it? Are you in faith? And that is the reason why many people have issues with changing, reprogramming. Our bodies might go sick for a few days. We might feel off. When we change paradigms or we change a belief, some people say they feel sick. They feel like they want to throw up. They want to cry all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting, because I am very much as I've kind of alluded to, kind of the physical as well as the mental, and I believe they make a whole being. But it is amazing when people will go on detox diets. I want to get rid of the toxins in my body. I want to improve my physical health, and I will put myself through torture to get rid of these toxins, or whatever it is. And then when you talk about detoxing your mind and reprogramming and resetting, it's a strange alien concept to people.
Yeah.
And I think, well, your mind, what you're doing to your body by drinking these green smoothies, and and whatever particular detox diet is. I know, like, detox teas are very popular, but
Yeah.
why won't you do that with your mind? Why won't you reprogram, reset your mind by removing everything that's in there,
Yeah.
and then just putting back in what you want? So if you want greater intelligence, put that back in there. Tell yourself you are intelligent. Tell yourself the reason that you feel that you're not intelligent. Now, this is something that I'm touching on, that I've done to a certain degree. So the reason that I felt that I wasn't intelligent was because I was told I wasn't intelligent, because I didn't conform to what society believed I was intelligence, which was being able to take exams, remembering information. But actually, I replace that with, learn what you're passionate about, because then you do learn, and have conversations with people and learn. So to have that intelligence, my intelligence isn't necessarily recall information, but my intelligence is the conversational, learning, educational part of intelligence. So we can do this. We can almost wipe it clean and say, what do I want to put back in there? And it's a very very powerful thing to do, to say, actually, who I am is because I've been programmed to be this way. So I left school with very few qualifications,
Mm.
and I left school believing I wasn't intelligent enough.
But
And
you know,
that,
it shows.
that then limited my life.
Yeah.
To begin with.
Yeah. It shows that there's something wrong with school system, I think. You know, we study, and by remembering stuff and recalling what we learned, we get grades.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to show if we are successful.
And that is the measure of intelligence, though, unfortunately, by the, all the way up to kind of university level, that is the sign of intelligence. How well can you recall?
And when we go to a job and we can't find a job, you know, that's the thing. Yeah, definitely.
But no, I think that might be for another time, about reprogramming.
But listen, the beautiful thing is, yes, we are programmed, okay, but it also shows that we can decide from now on, right? We can say, I don't have to be who other people think I have to be. I can decide it's my party. I decide where my journey is going to go to in life. And that is the beautiful thing of life. It's an ongoing project. We can always decide what type of person we want to show up as day by day. We are not limited. We do limit us, but we aren't limited.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. I think that once we start learning to remove those limitations, we can be exactly who we want to be.
Yeah.
I love that. I love there was one that really resonated in that. In fact, that was Tony Robbins, and it's a story I recall a few times. And it was a video I was watching of Tony Robbins, and he was in a room, and he said, write down the amount of money it would take to change your life. And he gave them all a few minutes, and he went around and said, how much have you written down? And someone said, oh, I'd written down $100,000. And he said, why 100,000? He said, well, I can pay off my debts. I can buy my mom and dad the house they live in. That would change their lives and mine. And he said, okay. And then he went on, and he eventually got up to someone that's written down $1 million. And he said, why $1 million? And they said, oh, well, this means I can do this and I can do that. And he said, no, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, why have you written down $1 million, not 10 million? And they said, oh, okay, I'll change it to 10 million. And he said, okay, same question. Why 10 million? Why not 100 million? Why have you limited yourself to a number? And that really, really resonated with me, that it was a case of, as soon as we go, I want to do this, or I can be this, then that is a limit. That is a limitation that we've then put on ourselves. And I go back to the ultra marathon I ran, that was my goal. And I got to the end, and I just went, okay, so what now? I've just gone through what I thought was going to be my limit. And the truth was, it wasn't a limit at all. And it really changed. Those two things really changed my perspective on the way that I look at life. And it's really interesting. Yeah, I can talk about limitations and self-limitations and things for a long time. It's something that I find absolutely fascinating, the way that people say, well, I can't do this because. And it's a great subject. I think we'll have to talk about reprogramming another time. And
but you know what? The beautiful thing about the marathon is you gave yourself permission to dive into this goal. It's a decision. And you were able to spend time with you exploring what it means to go for that goal. Many people don't go for it. They just say, stay alive, maybe have once a year vacation. That is my goal. But it's not very inspiring.
No.
And
No, I mean,
yeah, sorry.
yeah, I learned so much physically and mentally. I honestly, I was hurting. I won't lie, I was hurting after many hours of running. I was hurting, and but I was still alert. My mind was still there. It'd gone through the pain, and that's something that I do take into me with everything else. Because I think back and go, physically, I was beaten.
Yeah, man. There's a book, do you know the book Can't Hurt Me from David Goggins?
No, I haven't read that. I know David Goggins. Yeah, he's next level. He's something else.
Well, he has been running all these marathons, but he was talking also a lot about mind.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody was asking me yesterday, I think, what is your goal for this week? And I said to her, listen, I want confidence of Kanye West level, because he's so self-confident. But it's true. Mm-hmm. Our perception about ourselves is what causes all the problems. We have people who are so gifted, so talented, walking around and they don't believe in themselves.
Mm-hmm.
We believe Amazon is going to deliver our books on Prime, right? We order pizza and we believe it's going to come. And yet we don't believe in ourselves.
Yeah. Who was it talking about Kanye West? Was it Snoop Dogg that gave the speech and he says, and I want to thank me. I want to thank me for all the hard work. I want to thank me for the dedication. And it became a bit of a laughing stock and a kind of a joke. And I thought, actually, no, he was the one that he's actually credited himself with working hard.
Yeah.
And yet that's not seen as acceptable. I mean, he did go on to then thank God for the opportunities and the blessings and the talent and everything. But it was not seen as being acceptable to actually stand there and say, I want to thank me for all that I've done for myself. I mean, I think there should be more of that in the world.
I think maybe the reaction by most people is that actually it did touch a lot of people, but many people don't grant themselves this kind of recognition. And that is why people maybe, respond seeing people like that in such a way. The way people respond to things talks a lot about, where they are at the, current situation in life. Because it's a blind spot, maybe, that a person like Snoop is touching.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Especially if a man says that, right? Because men are meant to be always very masculine, don't show feelings, don't show they need recognition in such a way. There are a lot of concepts, how men should show up, how women have to show up.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I applauded him and I thought, yeah, that more people need to say that and more people need to be proud of what they've achieved and tell people that they're proud of what they've achieved.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, because that's where external validation ends. If you don't mind standing there and saying, I am proud of what I have achieved, you don't care if anybody else is proud of you. You don't care if people ridicule you. You don't care if they have a different opinion of you. If you can stand there and say, I am proud of what I have achieved, and I want to thank me for doing that.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a really healthy place.
And you live in Birmingham?
Not far from Birmingham, yeah.
Oh, wow. I love your queen so much. She is a wonderful woman.
Yeah, she is. She's fantastic. Right, should we let's draw this to a close. Are there any words of wisdom that you want to pass on right at the end?
Yeah. Everybody on the line, keep remember that you are a soul living in a physical body and you have an intellect. And you can achieve everything you want, but set a goal that you really want, a goal that is worthy of you. And also remember who you are. I always say every one of us is a daughter of a king or a son of a king. It will always come down to who we really want to be. And it comes also down to 3 things, enjoying life, being grateful, being of service, but also daily learning. Don't study books in regards to information. How about study who you are? Because that is going to show you how to get what you really want. And this is so much fun. I mean, I don't look like I suffer, and you're not as well, Greg. I mean, we both look healthy and happy. But this is a beautiful journey that we can take ourselves on, to explore who we are, what we can do. There's so much beauty inside every one of us. And also focus from living, on living from inside out. Skip the news. I really mean it. Skip the news. Skip anything that makes you feel sad. And really focus on serving.
That is beautiful. Thank you, Susanne. Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you.
And we hopefully will speak to you again soon, and certainly talk about mind reprogramming and things, which I think is absolutely fascinating. So thank you so much for your time, and thank you to everyone that's tuned in, and everyone's going to be watching on the replay. I'm sure they'll get to the end. So thank you once again, Susanne, and thank you for your time.
Okay. God bless you.